back to On Coireán or Waterbill, my Engage Irish inspired layout. And in the last episode, I took my Brennan's breadboard and added a frame to it by chopping a little bit of wood up and nailing it underneath to give it a bit of support. And in this episode, I'm going to take that board, I'm going to lay down my Kato Unitrack on it, try and get the position of that correct, and then I'm going to fix it down. And I'm also going to find a way to, well, the welders will probably cut some holes and feed wires down so that the points and the power track is all sorted. And then hopefully by the end of the episode, the track will be attached to the board. And in the next episode, then after that, I can look at maybe where buildings are going to go. So we're going to crack on with that now and have a look at setting up the track on the board. Right, so we've got the board and we've got the Kato Unitrack. Now, I put the curves kind of together already because I didn't want to spend too much time putting them together. And I'm actually going to move that one though to, oh I can't because the fish plates are still attached. You see they have these little blocks on them for the fish plates, so you can actually remove them completely. It's a good system, except for sometimes when you try and remove them they get all chewed up, they don't really come apart too easily. So never mind, it's just because there's green paint on the base from before, and I was hoping that I could line them up better. But anyway, so there's a curve at that end, and issues with those wires. This bit has some polyfiller on it, which will be alright, because it's going to be over there, hopefully in a tunnel. So if I move that to there, it might actually be inside the tunnel, and we won't have to worry about taking it off. So there we have the two curved ends, but we're actually going to rotate them slightly, I think. This is the power track. You have this wire, and it plugs into this section here. And that's it. And, you know, hopefully I won't have any issues with that once it's been installed, and it won't come out at all once I glue down the track. And they actually have these little ducts here where the wires can come out so it doesn't upset the track base. But I'm not sure, I might just run it under the track and down out underneath the railway. So we have this straight here. And we have, I think that point actually is going over there. This point has less ballast on it. So that's going to go there. And they just clip together. And we'll just drip the wires there. And it's a lot easier than putting together a normal Engage track. But you do end up with this plastic base, which doesn't look 100% realistic. I have tried ballasting this track before. Also doesn't look too realistic, but there you go. We're not worried so much about realism on this layout, just as I normally do a bit of impressionist modelling. So we've got this curve here and this straight, but I want to remove this fish plate. So I just stick my screwdriver in and try to get past this big bit of MDF that's stuck to it. And squeeze the pegs out. As you can see, it can be a bit difficult, but there we go. It's out. And we'll stick that onto that curve there. Like that. And that is going to form the goods siding at the station. So we're going to have a good shed over here and a station here on this curve. Now this set of points is slightly different to the large ones. The large ones are pre-wired. They're all pre-wired with point motors inside the track, and you can change, I think, things to do with polarity and frog power or something here. But this one just has this plug-in piece because it's small point, and the small points have individual point blades, whereas the larger ones have sort of, they're connected by a bar in the middle. I'm not sure how relevant that is electrically because I'm not an electrician. So this comes out this way and that goes down. Because they're sectional track pieces with the base, you have to have a special piece of track with a section cut away to then allow you to install another piece of track, because the base would get in the way otherwise. And these can operate manually without power, just by turning there's a little switch there. And if you do ballast these separately, you have to be careful because ballast can get in there and jam the mechanism, as I found out previously. But yeah, so that piece can now go in on that side, and that can go in on this side here. Now the layout doesn't actually have legs, it's not supported on anything fancy, it's actually just an old wooden fruit box at the moment because, well, that's all I had to hold up the layout. That I think is going to be in the engine shed because I've got these two pieces here, but this one is actually, because it's been recycled, it's separate from its base slightly, where it's been prized off of another layout, but that can go in there like that. That's going to be our engine shed road. It's a fairly gentle curve, so it's not going to matter too much going into the engine shed. Not that the engine shed will get that much use. And that's already got a dead end on it anyways. Just try and fit that into the point, because that fish plate's a bit chewed up. There we go. And then that one I also need to remove the fish plate on, and I should have done the same with that siding over there, so I'll do that in a minute. But that one there seems broken. It's one of the pegs is broken. It's easier if you do it with some tweezers or pliers, but I'm doing it quickly. The fish plate is still attached to the track. There you go. That's done. I think it's got glue or something on it from the ballast. That's why it's not shifted. But it doesn't matter. We don't need that piece. And when we level up the track, then we'll stick some of those buffer stops from Pico, the sort of wooden bunker ones. They're going to go there. So I'm just going to take this piece of track and remove that fish plate from there. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Both pieces are on that point. There we go. So that's the track layout set up. And I'll just move these pieces here out of the way. And so we have the track set up. Now I've got these wires here, and they aren't attached to anything because I need them to be passed through the board. This one, however, is going to need to be cut because the plug that takes it to the Kato point levers, that won't fit through a small hole in the board unless I make a hole big enough for all of the wires to go through and that to go through first. So I could do that. So look at that. This is probably a fairly soft wood that it'll go straight through. So now we have the track on the board, and we're going to make a hole, take all the wires down, and then glue it down. So now we have to decide exactly where to position the track. And there's going to be a tunnel over here, so it doesn't matter if the track goes right to the edge before the tunnel, because it's only where the tunnel wings are going to be. So that's probably too much. And I want to have sort of rocks along here, and then the sea there, as if the station was right on the seafront. So I'm going to go with something like that, I think, because the tunnel can be there. I don't know if that's in shot, but it's over here anyways. And then ending there, and I'm going to have the road coming down there, and a castle that's like Ballinskellig's castle, just a square tower up there. It's not going to look exactly the same. And I think that's it. Goods shed, brewery, engine shed, signal box, station. Maybe some sort of platform-based signal box for this siding here, and then we'll have sort of beachiness over here. So I think that's going to work like that. So just on that there. Just so I can line it up when gluing it. The next thing to do is the wires. So they can go here, and do you know what? I'm actually going to cover the whole thing anyways, So it doesn't matter too much if these wires come out as their correct side things, because I'm just going to put down a layer of card or something. So that's going to come out there, that's going to come out there. It's actually going to go underneath these ones, because you can pass it through the channel on either side, like that. So these pull back a bit, there you go. So they can both come out there. This is all going to be under the ground cover anyways. So all the wires here can come to a point there, and in order to fit through, I need to draw a pencil gun. There we go. So the hole that size. So I'll make a hole that size and we can put the wires through. Right, so I've got the scalpel, I've got the craft knife. So we'll see now, I'm going to draw a line there, and draw a line there, and then draw a line there. And it's all going to be covered over, so it doesn't make much difference if I make a bit of a hames of this old hole here. And also, we're going to be the other side of the timber that runs up this way, so then I can feed the wires that way, and then I'll have to make a sort of tray with the Kato point switches on, and then the controller can rest on that. I'll have to get a new separate controller. What I'm going to use is the old Hornby. And there we have the hole. Don't worry that this broke. I've had this for about nearly 10 years, this craft knife. It's from like Deals or something. But look, perfect size hole. So I'll just get that hoovered up now, and then we can feed the wires through. We go one. That's the big one through. I'm going to take these ones. Someone's having some fun with some ladders outside. Oop, who did? That wasn't supposed to pull that all the way over there. It's difficult when all the wires look the same and you can't see them underneath the board. There you go. That's that there. That back there. That there. And that in there. Sorry, I don't know, my big old head's getting in the way of the camera. Right, so now they are all going to be flat and going down there. And then all that's left to do, I suppose, is glue it in place. It's raining outside again now. Anyways, I'm going to be using some of this from the works, the all-purpose Bostik clear glue. I have used it before in projects, and that's what I'm going to use to stick down the track. And I don't have to stick it down in all the places because there'll be scenery going down around it, but I'm just going to put it in a few sort of specific spots and hope that it sticks down. Or what I might do is run some around. The problem is that it's hollow underneath, so you kind of just have to go, okay, we're going to glue it. Although there's like no glue in this tube. There's some. Right, so yeah, no, I think I'm going to have to open the new one because it was actually empty, which I partly suspected, which is why I have this packet here. And I think what I'll do is just try and glue as much of it as possible, because you know, if I am taking this out and about, you want it stuck to the railway. And thinking about this logically, I probably want to lift that up, move that out of the way, and this is the fruit box I had underneath it, and I want to lay it down on the floor like that, because that's going to be as flat as it's going to be without the box pushing up underneath it. So what we'll do is run the glue just on the edges of that there, because I know that that's where the base of that's going to be. doesn't matter too much if I make a mess, as long as I don't get it on the railway, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be levelling up around this track bed, and it'll be hidden essentially, so that's all right. And we'll just pop some glue under here. Let's make sure that bit there where the wire goes into the point is properly sorted, because I won't be able to get it back up again if it's glued down incorrectly, inserted into the thing. It seems to be in as far as it will go, and that's coming that way. So make sure we get all these wires in the correct positions as well, going through under these things, because also we don't want any issues. And then I'm going to try and position this correctly. So that was further over there, and that wire should come out of there, and that wire should come out of there. You can see the line there is there, and that was there. And I think that was further over there, and that was somehow over there. I'm not entirely sure how I've moved it so far when these are on the pencil lines. It's an interesting track system, because while it looks fixed, sometimes you can bend it a little to a different shape. So it's not a fully fixed thing, although things like the points, for instance, the positioning of the points is quite difficult to deal with when you're trying to sort of move things around. But I think we should be okay. Just going to add a bit more glue. And like I said, it doesn't matter too much making a mess of the board here, because I plan on covering over a lot of this stuff. So, and hopefully the type of track bed that I've got will mean that if there are any warping from there not being enough of a frame underneath, it won't be too much of an issue, because the track bed is all sort of fixed. And Kato do Unitrack. I know they do it in sort of HO00 scale. I'm not sure if they do it in Z scale or smaller or anything like that, but I suppose it's similar sort of to Bachmann EZ track. I haven't used that before though, so I don't know if it is that similar, but we have now got that gluing down. So now I suppose just have to wait for the glue to dry. So while the glue dries, I'm going to talk to you about the Butler Arms Hotel, which I mentioned in the fact piece in the last episode. But yeah, so I'll go over to the desk and show you. So here in my collection of things, I have some stuff to do with the Butler Arms Hotel. And this postcard is from 1938. If I turn it over, you can actually read the writing if you want to, and you can see there's a Killarney postmark there and an Irish stamp. And I think it says Tuesday, or it could be Thursday. So yeah, this is what the Butler Arms Hotel used to look like in the 1930s. And obviously with my railway being there, you know, I could imagine that people would be travelling to the Butler Arms when it looked like this. So the Butler Arms Hotel was opened by the McGilligan family in 1884, and they ran it until 1915 when the Huggards took over, and they ran it until 2022. So that's quite a long time to be running a hotel, but it's now owned by Paddy McKillen Jr.'s Press Up Entertainment Group, I think. But the Huggards who owned it, they also owned the Royal Hotel in Valentia. They owned the Cara Lake Hotel and the Lake Hotel in Killarney. So obviously a big hotel running family. And so I've also got a few other things. I have this luggage label here, which kind of shows off the things that you could do at the Butler Arms Hotel. So when you got this to put on your luggage, perhaps, because I assume that's what it is. It looks like it's been stuck on something before. It gives you a picture of the hotel and the things you could do. You could go fishing for salmon, you could go shooting, you could go golf, you could play tennis. It's a really nice thing. It's got the Butler Arms crest at the top, and it's got these sort of shamrocks, and it's a nice kind of green. So that's quite a nice piece. And I also have these from the Bayview, which is in the middle of the village. And that also says AJ Huggard proprietor on that. So I don't know if that's the same family. It's probably quite likely. But as you can see, we didn't have many phone numbers here because it says phone number 4. So I'll just put those over there. I also have a few other things. So for instance, on the beach, I found this, which has Hotel. That's, I think, a Butler Arms Hotel plate because I have one or two other plates or pieces of plate like this. But it's quite cool. You can find this sort of stuff coming out of there's like a spoil heap on the edge of the cliff down on the beach, and so you can still find random pieces like that. So I've got this as well, which, so with the coming of the railways to Killarney, obviously a lot more people could travel and get down to places like this, and places like guys like Bradshaw's, for instance, would say that it would be good for fishing and scenery. But this little booklet comes with a letter, and if I can find out how to open the letter, it says 1938 as well, so let's go with the postcard. But at the top it says Butler Arms, phone 5, proprietor M. Huggard, also Royal Hotel Valentia, phone 7, and Southern Hotel Cara Lake, phone 2. And it's got a lovely thing that says Butler Arms Hotel, County Kerry, August 1938. And there you go. It's saying about accommodation, something about September 1st. And then at the end there, it looks like M. Huggard. So that's a letter that I think when I read this before, it was about sending this because they were inquiring about staying. And so I'll just lock the focus there for a sec. So it says, the Butler Arms Hotel, Waterville, where anglers meet. And it's got a lovely cover to it. It says Healy's, Dublin. And when you open it, it has telegrams, Butler Arms, Waterville, phone number 5, postal address, railway station, Kersavine, 10 miles away. And so when you open it up, it has another lovely picture of the Butler Arms Hotel. And it has information about the hotel, which you can read. And then there's more pictures as well. So there's someone doing a bit of fishing at the Butler River, Lower Pool. That's where the river I showed in the first episode by Waterville House, I think that's probably where that flows out to the sea. So it says, excellent free salmon and sea trout fishing on Loch Coireán, and also small brown trout lakes and rivers. So we go to the next one. Fishing. There are also excellent beats on the Inny and Cummerah rivers, and about when fishing season is. And there's people down at the lake there. And so it's really nice. It's just like a little guide and tells people what there is. And there's a map as well. So you can see there's the River Inny there, and there's Waterville House down here, and there's the hotel. And it's got the names of the lakes and lochs numbered, so you could kind of make your plans or read up about them, where you were going to do your fishing, what you need to bring and where. Meals and fishing interchangeable with their other hotels as well, which is quite cool. And a home farm provides the best country fare. So it's really a nicely put together piece. And then it tells you how far away it is from places. So for instance, if you were traveling from England to Ireland, and you were traveling to somewhere like Cork or Dublin or Rosslare, you know how far away it was to get there when you were making your plans. So that's quite a nice little piece that I have there. And then I also have another bit with photos on as well, which is quite cool. It says this is actually from before the Huggards took over, so pre-1915, because it says telegrams, McGilligan, Waterville, fishing, shooting, golf, billiards, lawn tennis, motor garage, and bathing. And it's about a check because when you open it up, there's actually two of them. And the second one says, dear, and then I'm not sure what the name is there. Sorry for the mistake. Please find check corrected. And then the name at the bottom. And I'm not sure what that name is because I can't read it, but it's a different, it's the same here, and then there's another name here or something. So, but they're quite nice, old. They've lasted very well. They're in very good condition, but you can see the view is different there. There's a lot more of this view you can see in this. You can see a bit further round. But yeah, I just think it's really cool to have this stuff and to be able to see it and everything. But obviously, it's going to be a big attraction for people travelling on my miniature railway. Although I won't actually be able to model it on the layout itself because I don't have the space. But famous people stayed here as well. Probably most famously is Charlie Chaplin. Walt Disney stayed with his family. Michael Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Flatley of Riverdance. And writers as well as Virginia Woolf and John Steinbeck of Mice and Men and The Grapes of Wrath stayed there as well. And famous people still come and stay there. So it's, like I said, it's a good draw for the village, I'd say. But it's also a good draw for passengers on my railway. And in another episode, I'll have to go and find my local railway paper stuff to have a look at. So I'll just tidy this stuff away. And yeah, there's once more. You can see it there on the postcard. It says on the tower, the Butler Arms Hotel. And here is that same view today. So there you go. And over on the other side there's also the Fisherman's Bar as well. But yeah, and look, here we are, right in the heart of the village, straight across from the sea. And look, tourists turning up. So yeah, really was a prime spot, and like I say, a great attraction for people travelling on my railway. Having come all the way down from Killarney, it's so much easier to get to Waterville on the Lengage Railway that never existed. Right, so while the glue starts to firm up, I'm going to look at the wiring, and I was looking for my masking tape, but I think I've misplaced it. So what I have here is a tangle of wires. Now, the track system I'm using has, as I mentioned, motors already in the points, and they connect to these, and they can be attached together. I bought these second-hand when I had my other layout. They're all glued together. They were on someone else's railway. But basically, you normally have a controller, and it has this adapter that you can buy. I've got it attached to this old Hornby controller, and that connects to this bank of switches, like so, and that's it. They'll have power now. So then I have these already attached from using these previously, and I have another one here. So what I need to do is connect the power pack to this so I can test the track out. I don't know directionally which way around this is going to be. At this stage, it's not going to matter, and it's not going to matter until I'm actually like showing off the railway, because I won't be too worried if it's one way or the other way. I'm just going to trim a bit of the plasticky casing off those because they're a bit bad. There we go, chuck that over there, and we're going to fit those into these little connectors. And I find that these connectors are really handy. You can get them on Amazon or at your local hardware store usually. Like for instance here would be like Corkery's or somewhere in Kersavine. So you just pop that in there and do that up. And it's fixed. And then that one in there. And you don't need to solder at all, and you can change over the controller whenever you want. Just make sure the controller side's done up. That's fine. Now, we have here a bank of switches, and this is the first switch, and it connects to the same block. That is going to be the switch for the point near the station, presumably. So now we have to figure out which one that is. So it's this wire. Am I pulling that wire? I don't know. Is the point. How in the world? Right, what I'll do is I'll take it out and then I will thread it through to my hands. There you go. I don't know if you can even see this, but there you go. I have that one there. Or not. Where? So here we have this little Unitrack 060 dock shunter. I'm going to place it on the line where the station will be. And like I said, we're going to have little rocks and stones come around here and sort of sandy beachiness on that side. So I've got these still attached. I'm not going to need them. I might be able to cut them off at some point because I can disassemble this or whatever. But I'm not too worried about them for now. They can just be something to mess around with. These are my point controls, and at the moment the first one's incorrectly set, and now it's set the right way. And which way is the train going? That way. So it's quite an old engine. I don't know why it's getting a bit stuck there. I'll just check that. You're right there. Something caught or bent? I don't know. Sort of making some interesting sounds. What I will need to do is get a decent running engaged locomotive and make it look Irish. And there we go. Now the track is fixed down and the locomotive goes over it. So we're going to switch the points into the goods yard. Turn that down, change the direction, open the point, run it out. Change points, change direction, right, stop, change points into the siding. Oh, I didn't mean to change the direction as well, didn't we? There we go. Into the siding, change direction. Obviously, running an engage, you have to make sure that your track is kept clean, which is easy enough to do, I suppose. Don't really do it so much on Beaglington-On-Sea. Close that. Yep, electrically isolated. Open it, change direction, drag it out. Now the point I had trouble with, so I can change both of those at the same time, is the one going into the engine shed siding, which wasn't opening and closing all the way, but it seems to be working now. So we go forwards. Close the point, no change. Turn it up and open the point again. We'll go back out. So, amazingly, all the points are working. The track is working. The locomotive is making some very strange sounds, but it's still working. So yeah, just get a couple of shots of that running around, I suppose. So yes, amazingly, I've managed to lay my track and have the points all actually working and the train actually going around it. So now I can move forward, hopefully in the next episode, to planning out the village, and I'll also be looking at levelling up the ground, finding the masking tape, because I don't know where it's gone, and yeah, kind of getting the setting right. And I suppose the episode after that will be building some scenery. But yeah, that's basically my plan, is to have fun running this, and I can store it sideways out of the way when I'm not running it, because the track is fixed down so it doesn't fall off. Yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with that in the meantime. But yeah, next time we're gonna see some village, hopefully. So thank you all very much for watching, yeah, I'm just really surprised by it actually working, you know. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers, to everyone who likes, comments and shares my videos. Don't forget to let your friends know, maybe if they're interested in starting a small scale layout and TT is too expensive. There's a lot of secondhand engaged stuff out there. If your eyesight's good, if your fingers are not too bad, then it's, you know, still a viable option. So yeah, it's something you can do. There's plenty of secondhand track out there. Maybe not so perfect on points. You should probably buy new points. But yeah, generally engage is still pretty good for just like a small space layout. As you'll see, hopefully I can create a nice setting with this layout. So that's all for this episode. Like I said, thanks again. Don't forget you can subscribe with the subscribe bubble, and there's a playlist thing as well. But until next time, I'm off to go play with my small trains. So, ta-ra!